తరచి చదువు చదివి తర్కవాదమే కానీ పూర్ణ జ్ఞానంబు ఎప్పుడు పొందలేదు. చదువులన్నీ చదివి చావంగనేటికి చావులేని చదువు చదవవలయు. In a science class, you'll get hundreds of students. Every parent wants to admit their children into science. They'll become engineers, doctors, scientists, and make a lot of money. Then you have the next level, some parents, anyway, all I have got is this fellow who can at best get admitted to some commerce or arts. Let's put him there or her there. But in spiritual class, like Sri Krishna's class, there's only one student, Arjuna. He says here, Kachiddhira pratyagata atmanamaikshat. Somebody, one out of many, decides to walk this spiritual path because he wants to realize immortality, says Yama Dharmaraja to Nachiketa in Kathopanishad. Kachiddhira pratyagatmanamaikshat avrutta chakshu amrutatvam icchan. Somebody, one amongst the thousands, decides to walk the spiritual path. Why? Because he is desirous of immortality. He doesn't want to die. Chavuleni chadu. He does not want to die after all reading and educating himself in all schools and colleges. He wants to study that which will help him attain immortality. And once for all, he is redeemed from the cycle of birth and death, from all bondage. That is the student that Arjuna is. And Sri Krishna is trying to teach him this lesson. That how he must turn his gaze inwards, find that self within, and be redeemed of all this idea of doership, enjoyership, and be free. That is the lesson that Sri Krishna Paramatma is teaching. And look at the classroom. It is a battlefield. Most unique classroom, most unique teacher, and the most unique student. This is Bhagavad Gita, a lesson in spirituality given by the highest supreme Sri Krishna Paramatma to the most eligible student, Arjuna, who is having Shraddha and also is having inquisitiveness, inquiry. He doesn't just listen and keep quiet. Whenever he gets a doubt, he asks Sri Krishna, please clarify this doubt. That makes Krishna happy, because teacher loves the student who wants to learn, who wants to know, who is hungry for knowledge. And Arjuna is hungry. And as you say, Gita is like the mother cow. All the Upanishads are like cow, and Gita is the milk of that Upanishad. Krishna is the man, the milkman who is milking this cow, and Arjuna is the hungry calf. Sudhir Bhokta, he drinks for a long time. Also, he is one of the person with good intellect. So he is the one who is the student. So in this class of one student, one teacher, 1:1 teacher-pupil ratio, this class is going on. Before getting into Jnana Vijnana Yoga, which is the 7th chapter, a small recap of the Dhyana Yoga that we had studied. I thought that would help us to remember why Sri Krishna is teaching Jnana Vijnana Yoga. He is a very methodical teacher, as we learnt last time. He slowly builds up the class, slowly builds up the concepts. He doesn't start off all of a sudden, but he gradually builds this spiritual concept. So in the Dhyana Yoga, he had mentioned that one has to steady one's mind and keep thoughts in a steady state. There should not be fluctuations in the mind. That is what dhyana is meant for. Chittasya shuddhaye karma. You have to do action for purification of your mind. But to steady the mind, ekagryatham upasana, it is said. Meditation is necessary to steady the mind. Now meditation could be on anything. Meditation is only a process, like walking is a process. Talking is a process. Eating is a process. You can walk to anywhere using the same process of walking. You can talk anything using the same mouth and the process of talking. You can, as I said, you can see anything using the process of seeing or vision, or hear anything. When meditation is directed towards the divine, supreme divine, then it becomes a spiritual process. Else, a cricketer, a batsman who is at the field trying to hit the ball thrown by the bowler, he is also in the state of meditation. He is also completely focused on that one thought, ekatanata. Continuously he is thinking about that one ball which is coming and he has to hit. So he is also in a state of, at that point of time, in a state of dharana or dhyana. Dhyana means meditation, because he is completely focused and concentrating on the ball. He cannot hear the crowds cheering, he cannot hear anybody else, he cannot see anybody else. So that is meditation. But when it is directed towards God, to realize the truth, it becomes a spiritual process. So meditation by itself is neither spiritual nor unspiritual. But the use of it is spiritual or unspiritual, like everything in the world. So Krishna says first in the 5th shloka, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam Atmanam Avasadayat. Don't blame for your follies and frailties and failures on others. Because you yourself are responsible for your betterment, you yourself are cause of your downfall. This is what Krishna makes it very clear to Arjuna. Oh, these students are making noise, so I could not meditate today. Today back was aching, so I could not meditate. And worse still, I could not find the deer skin and the kusha grass, therefore I did not meditate today. I had assignments to do, so I did not meditate today. Of all the things, we are ready to sacrifice God and our spiritual activities. Everything else remains. We have to eat on time, we have to sleep on time, we have to study, we have to earn our money, we have to go to office. Nobody compromises on that. But when it comes to spiritual activities, we compromise. So Krishna says, Uddared Atmanatma, you alone can help yourself, you alone can harm yourself. Don't blame others for whatever you don't do right on this spiritual path. Then he gives an example of how, he gives the explanation of how meditation is to be done. Find a calm, sacred place, put kusha grass, put a deer skin and put cloth on it, sit on top with steady, straight spine, no shaking, no bending, and slowly concentrate your breath on the tip of your nose and meditate on one thought. It could be any thought. It could be a thought of a form and a name. It could be just a thought like Aham Brahma, Sarvam Brahma. It could be anything. Idea is to learn to focus your mind, because a focused mind is very powerful. When you put the lens through this on a piece of paper and let the sunlight pass through it, all the rays get concentrated onto one spot and paper can burn. Likewise, a meditative mind, a focused mind, a concentrated mind is very, very powerful. It can attain anything, it can pierce through any layers of ignorance and realize the truth. Scientists also have to think like that. Sportsmen also have to think like that. A musician has to think like that. Even a lady who is cooking in the kitchen for their family, she also has to be in the state of meditation. Everybody needs meditation, but when that meditation is directed towards realizing the truth, it becomes dhyana yoga. Otherwise, it remains dhyana only. Yoga is when it joins you or unites you to your true self. So that is the idea of meditation. And he says how you should do. You should not go to extremities. Many people think, no, I'll get up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock and meditate. Some other people take to extremes of meditation, Go to Himalaya in cold, icy caves and try to meditate. But Krishna says very simply, don't complicate spirituality. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta karma, cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Keep everything under moderation. Eat on time, eat appropriately. Sleep on time, sleep appropriately. Anything that you do, any activity or rest should be moderated. This is spirituality. Extremes is not spirituality. See how clear it is. Yet there are so many people who scare you with the kind of austerities they want you to perform to become a spiritual person. It's not necessary, Krishna is saying. Moderation is the key. And he says the one whose mind meditates, his mind is like a flame of a lamp where there is no wind, completely steady. So many people do this Jyoti meditation. They meditate on the flame and think that my mind should also be like that flame. No other thoughts come. But then you will say it's not possible, thoughts keep coming. Arjuna also says very difficult thought keeps coming. Krishna says yes, it keeps coming, but then you can control your mind through practice. Abhyasena yogena vairagyena cha grihate. Abhyasa yogena tato vairagya. So abhyasa and vairagya is required. Practice is required, like anybody needs practice, right? Even to hit a cricket ball, you need practice. Even to play tabla or sing a song, you need practice. Write or speak, everything needs practice. So this also needs practice. What is special about it? But along with practice is required vairagya. What is vairagya? Not getting attached to the action or the result is vairagya. Not getting to anything is vairagya. Means if you have too many desires in your mind, you cannot focus on God. You will be focusing on the desires. So reduce your desires is what Krishna is saying. Now, desire to study, is it a good thing or not? Yes, desire to study is a good thing, but desire to be the topper and make sure that nobody else reaches anywhere, and that kind of a thing is not a good thing. You study as you need to study. If you need to top the class, it will happen because you have studied well. So that kind of vairagya who develops can develop a steady mind. Such a steady mind can attain God. And why people want to do meditation seems like a painful process. Sleeping is easy, eating is easy, but if you don't put efforts, you gain nothing in life. So also is with meditation. Why you should meditation? Because it says, Sukham Atyantikam, it gives you the highest kind of pleasure or happiness, which does not go. You eat a gulab jamun, pleasure lasts half an hour. You go and play, pleasure lasts an hour. You sleep, pleasure lasts a few hours. But this kind of meditative mind, the one who possesses, his joy is forever. He is never thrown into sorrow. And it says, even if difficulties and sorrows come, he is able to remain steady. He says, na dukhyena gurunapi vichalyate. Even if biggest of the sorrows come, some relative passed away, somebody very near and dear is no more, you lost a match, your warden gave you ashirvachana in the morning, anything you can tolerate. Why? Because you have developed that kind of detached meditative mind. That's why meditative mind is very important. That is the idea. But you can't do it all of a sudden. So he says, shanaihe uparamet. Slowly, slowly you do it. Don't just go and try to hit the six on the first ball. Slowly understand the pitch, understand the baller, understand the technique, the fielders, watch around. Then you plan your hit. Like that, slowly, slowly you have to learn to meditate. But put efforts, he says. And he says, the one who meditates sees me and all in me. Sarvabhutasya atmanam, sarvabhutani chatmani. He sees me in all and all in me. It means he sees God in everything. He sees God in everything. God means not a form and name. You don't see Krishna. You don't see a particular form. But you feel that presence of God in everything, in everyone. So what happens? Ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshina. He becomes equal-minded. In everybody, somebody scolds also, he thinks, see, God is coming and teaching me something through this person. Somebody praises also, he thinks God is coming and praising me through this person. In every situation, he sees the hand of God. That is what it says. Patibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. Our Upanishad say, in every act, see the hand of God. Kena Upanishad says. And if you see that continuously, you will become immortal. You will become God, like God, he says. So he says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. The one who can develop this attitude of seeing me in all and all in me, I am never lost to that person because he'll feel God everywhere. He will never lose the sight of God. Somebody was telling me, I don't feel confident all the time. Why is it? I told, because you don't have faith in me. So it doesn't mean faith in me as a body. Faith in the idea of God. That God is there. God is looking after everything. God will take care. I should not fear. That feeling should be developed. That is what Krishna says. How can you not, see, today Krishna is not around, right? Arjuna could have had Krishna with him all the time. But how can we have Krishna? What Krishna means to say is, feel God in everything and everyone. Many people say, Swami, be with me. I'm going on this tour, or I'm traveling to my home. Please be with me. To them also I tell, you be with me. I'm always there. You be with me. Your mind is elsewhere. So when you feel me in everything and in everyone, how can you lose me? And how can I lose you? So that is what Krishna says. Such a jnani with meditation who is able to find the truth that God is in all, in everything, will never come to a state where he feels alone. He is always surrounded by God. Inside antarbahishta tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. His paristhiti like Prahalada. All the time he is feeling Narayana. His father throws from the mountain, Narayana, Narayana. So he gets bitten by the snake, Narayana. Throws into the fire, Narayana. In everything he sees Narayana. So that is the idea of such a yogi. But Krishna, as usual, Arjuna says, I am not a yogi like that. I am not going to be able to do all these things. Chanchalam himana. So Krishna says, you practice and you will get it. And then Arjuna says, what if I practice and fail? Because I know my steadiness and my efforts. Still Krishna gives such a big assurance. He says, in this effort of spiritual path, no effort is lost. He says, Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyanakrit kashchit durgatim tata gacchati. The one who does some good on the spiritual path never comes to ruin, never meets a bad fate. All his efforts are rewarded. And he goes on to say, they are born in different lokas, or they go to different lokas, or they are born in different families where they can continue their spiritual journey because of their karma. Same thing our Mundaka Upanishad, Kama bhirjayate tatra tatra. Based on your desire, you are born in different places. We heard the Jada Bharata story. He was born as a deer because he thought of being a deer. Thought of a deer, so he became a deer. Then again he became a jnani. So very important what you think. And you think at the last moment I will think of God somehow. It's not going to happen. That the man who names his sons Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Madhava, who runs a shop. And in his last moment he thinks, if I call my son's name, I will be remembering God, so I will get moksha. And then the last moment comes, he's feeling that he's going to leave the body. He shouts, Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Madhava, all four sons come running. He says, all of you are here, who is looking after the shop? And dies. Idea is that you can't think of God all of a sudden unless you have practiced it all your life. So this is the idea. So aneka janma sansiddha tato yati param gatim. After many births of practice, one attains this state of steadiness of mind, remembers God, feels God all the time, and is redeemed. So Krishna tells Arjuna, therefore tapasvi be adhiko yogi. You are a yogi who is connected to God all the time is better than a tapasvi who is trying. Better than jnani bhyopi matodikaha. From those who know all the scriptures and all the knowledge theory, is better than them because he has practical knowledge of experiencing divinity. And he says that such a person you become. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna, he says. Therefore try to become that yogi. Yogi means the one who is always united in mind with God. Like we talked about, like the toothache is there. Whatever class is going on, math, science, English, doesn't matter. You don't even realize which class is going on. Why? Your tooth is paining all the time. Your focus is on the teeth. So like that, the idea of jnani or yogi is who is always connected to divinity wherever, whatever he is doing. So with that, I think the Dhyana Yoga chapter is summarized, and I hope you had a good jog down your memory lane. So he says that among all the yogis also, yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana, the one whose inside is always devoted to me. Outside he is busy doing many activities, but inside he is continuously connected with me. Such a yogi, shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomata. They are the best of the yogis. Outside they are busy. Atma krida, atmarati kriyavan. They're busy working in the hospital, in the kitchen, in the canteen, in the schools, in the darshan arrangements, or wherever. But their mind is always on God. They are internally connected to God. Externally they are active doing whatever they are doing. They are the best of the yogis. They are the best of the yogis, Krishna is saying. And so he says that you must develop that kind of a yoga, Arjuna. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Ultimately, at the end of all this Bhagavad Gita, you should have realized that yoga, the union with divine. The yogi, Sankata comes or good times come, always mind is on Venkata only. So that kind of a yogi you become, Arjuna, he says. I think this is enough of recollecting. We'll jump into the next chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. From Dhyana Yoga, Krishna is now telling, okay, you do dhyana, but dhyana on whom? Dhyana on whom? Dhyana on that Supreme Self. What is that Supreme Self? He is trying to explain. See, last shloka he says, amongst all those who with Shraddha who remember me. So now you may think remember me means remember Krishna. So find a statue of Krishna or a photo of Krishna, put him on the altar and then start meditating on him and sing bhajans. Is that what Krishna means? No, he means beyond that. So Jnana Vijnana Yoga is about that. Jnana means knowledge. Vijnana means Vishesha Jnana. Special knowledge. So what is this special knowledge about God? This is what Krishna is going to tell us now. What do I mean by this special knowledge? So Krishna is trying to convey who he really is. Is he the body that was born to Vasudeva and Devaki? Is he the cowherd boy of Vrindavan? Is he the destroyer of demons? Is he the ruler of Mathura? Is he the cousin of Arjuna? No. He is beyond that is what Krishna is trying to tell. So this chapter is very deep, very spiritual. In fact, this talks about the true Supreme Self and its nature and qualities and how one should meditate on it. So pay attention. Okay. So he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manaha Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasyasi Tachrunu. Listen, no Arjuna. Listen up. That's what I am saying. Pay attention, Arjuna. What? I am going to tell you about that. What? Into which your mind should be completely absorbed. When you absorb your mind completely into that and take refuge in that Supreme Self, without any doubts, you will understand, you will come to know about it. How will you come to know about it? Let me explain and you listen. That's what Krishna is saying. What he says? Jnanam te aham savijnanamidam pakshamya asheshataha yajñatva neha bhuyo anyad jnatam avyashishyate. He says, now I am going to tell you that special knowledge, knowing which there is nothing else need to be known, there is nothing remains to be known. So beautiful. It means if you know this knowledge, you will know everything about science, maths, English, chemistry, geography. No, not that. Like by knowing gold, you know all the ornaments. If I show you a bangle made of gold, if you show a ring made of gold, I show you chain made of gold, somebody will call it ring, chain and bangle, but a jeweler will call what? It's all gold. This is a joke. One jeweler told, I'll give you a gift. There is a statue of Ravana and there is a statue of Rama. Both are made in gold. Which one do you want? What will you say? Both are made in gold. One is Ravana and one is Rama. So you will say, I am a Rama devotee, I will take the Rama statue. But the jeweler, how will he think? Whichever statue is more weight, I will take that. How does it matter it is Ravana or Rama? Alva? Gold is important. So a Jnani will look at gold. A Jnani will see, no, I am Rama Bhakta, I will take Rama. How can I take Ravana statue? I will tell Ravana statue better, 10 heads more weight, more gold. I can melt and make more money. So he is not deluded by the forms of Ravana and Rama. A Jnani is looking at the gold, and by knowing gold, he knows the value of everything. That Krishna is saying, let me tell you the knowledge, knowing which nothing else needs to be known. Once you know that, you know everything. The same thing we see in Mundakopanishad, where Shaunako Mahashalo, Shaunaka Muni goes to Angirasa and says, I have studied everything, I have done everything, yet I am not satisfied. I think something is there which I don't know, because tell me that, knowing which, Kasminnu Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvavidam Vijnatam Bhavatiti, by knowing which I will come to know everything. And that is the time when Angirasa says, Dve Vidye Veditavye Iti Hasma Yad Brahma Vido Vadanti. Our ancients have said, knowers of Brahman have said what? Two kinds of knowledge are there in this world. You know all that knowledge. Parachaiva Paracha. One is Aparavidya, one is Paravidya. In those days, Aparavidya was Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvanaveda, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakara, Niruktam, Jyotisham, Chandamiti. All the knowledge which is there in the Vedas and Vedangas, that was Aparavidya, which was needed for Brahmins to conduct rituals and earn a living. That which takes us to the highest of the self, that is Paravidya. So you all have these Paravidya classes, right? So the origin of this Para and Aparavidya terms are from Mundakopanishad. Apara is all the knowledge of the world that you need to survive. Jivakoparjana or Jivanopadhi Vidya. And Para is that which is Jivita Paramavadi, which takes you to the highest knowledge. So Krishna is telling about that highest knowledge, knowing which everything is known. Means knowing God, everything is known as God. Brahma Veda, Brahma Iva Bhavati. So this is very important. Third shloka he says, but the plight, though it is such a beautiful knowledge, knowing which you will be ever happy, never sad. Yet nobody wants this knowledge.